Good evening, everybody. This is Arvil'sArk, and welcome to Arvil'sArk. It is February 19th, 2018 at 10:17 p.m. Central Standard Time. Just want to come on and make a quick video because I just cannot believe some of the stuff I'm seeing. Evil is right in your face. The deep state has no conscience. I'm sure you're all aware of the Florida shooting just the other day. And of course, uh, the uh, the TV, the news stations are just full of anti-gun, anti-gun. The deep state wants your gun so bad they are willing to sacrifice children and anything else that gets in their way to achieve that end. Now, this is just gotten to the point of being crazy. I want to show you some pictures here that I just found. Uh, one on let's see, it's someone I follow on Twitter. It's right here. Let me pull him up. Truth in Government. I found it on his Twitter feed. He points out this picture here that has, surprise, surprise, it has all the crisis actors that appeared after the shooting in Florida. Here they are, all big smiles, taking a great big picture prior to the shooting. Now, you think this is just a coincidence that these people are all together in the same room and then they're the ones that end up in front of the camera? Does that not just strike you as odd? Does that not strike you as the least bit odd? People, wake up. Look what's going on right in front of you. There are people, there are deep state actors that will sacrifice anything in their path at the drop of a hat and use smiling actors to promote their agenda. If they don't do it one way, they come back with something else. Now they're going to send the kids out. And they are so blatant. This is something else that I heard just the other day, that even the name of the school, I mean, this has deep state written all over it. Even the name of the school is Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High in Parkland, Florida. And this was reported by Anti-School the other day, is who I saw this from, is that what is her claim to fame? She was she was against the draining of the swamp, the draining of the Everglades. That's her claim to fame. She's an author and journalist. But one of the things that she didn't want to happen was the draining of the swamp of the Everglades. Now, the deep state loves little messages like that, loves little cryptic things like that. Do you not see this happening right in front of you? So here's the crisis actors that you have seen. These guys are all over television. Every time you turn it on, you see them. Here's a report from CBS News. It's right there. It's one of the mainstream news.
Vladimir G-Tip, thank you so much for joining us. The survivors of the deadly school shooting in Florida say they're turning their anger into action as they try to prevent another tragedy. Thousands of people rallied in Fort Lauderdale over the weekend demanding tighter gun control laws.
More protests are planned across the country over the next several weeks. 100 students now plan to visit Florida's legislature tomorrow to call for a ban on assault weapons. Adriana Diaz spoke to 4 survivors of the shooting at Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School.
They say that tougher gun laws do not decrease gun violence. We call
Never again. That's the rallying cry from student survivors, fueled by the loss of their peers.
If all our government and president can do is send thoughts and prayers, then it's time for victims to be the change that we need to see.
Emma Gonzalez is one of the teens calling on politicians to pass stricter gun laws, along with...
Okay, Emma Gonzalez, that's her right here. Child actress. Look at this. And look, she's reading, she's got her talking points right there in front of her. She's definitely just reading off the script and then trying to wipe away some fake tears there to make it seem like what she's doing is legitimate.
Lainey Tarr, David Hogg, and Cameron Kasky. What do you think is the one thing about your generation that can really spark change here?
the fact that we're getting shot. And I hate that it took hitting me right at home for me to get involved with this, but I just have to forgive myself for that and keep moving.
The thing is, as much as I would love to be worrying about prom dresses and college acceptance letters, in my mind, I can't think about anything now except change. All I can think about is those 17 faces.
They're taking their movement nationwide with a March on Washington next month.
How does a march bring change?
Think of all the things that have happened since the first Women's March. We've had the Me Too movement, and along with those women, it's our turn, and it's the grieving students' turn to put an end to this and be heard.
We're going to make ourselves so loud, so brazen that they won't be able to ignore us in the White House. This is all about gaining a platform so that we can discuss with them, creating common sense gun laws and stricter gun legislation.
We want assault rifles off.
Okay, so these are supposed to be 4 random people that are brought together by tragedy. And yet here they are. Bing, 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 bing. That's all 4 of them right there. Let me blow the picture up a little bit so you can see it even better. That's the people you just saw here, all smiling and happy because of the show they're about to put on. This is like the crew before the Broadway show comes out. They all get together and take a picture. Look at what we're gonna do. Look at what we're gonna do. Okay, so you go on YouTube or go on online and you can find anything they've got to say. It's all over the place. Okay, now listen to this girl here. This girl was interviewed by a local reporter. I mean, it's still going on. You can see the lights in the background. Listen to what she's got to say.
I actually was in the bathroom at the moment, and I came back to my classroom and I knocked on the door, and the fire alarm went off, and the principal came on the speaker and just said, everyone needs to evacuate right now. So that's what we did. As I was going down the stairs, I heard a couple shots fired. Everyone was freaking out, saying that it was a gun. And as we were walking, the whole class together, I actually was speaking to the suspect, Nicholas Cruz. And as I was speaking to him, he seemed very, I don't know what the word I want to say is, but he was trouble in middle school, so I kind of joked to him about it and said, I'm surprised you weren't the one who did it. And he just gave me a huh. So that's really what happened.
You were walking down the hall, he had already fired at that time.
Yes, sir, with him.
Weren't you scared?
In the moment I wasn't, because there was obviously definitely another shooter involved, but.
Oh, you think he was not the only one?
No, definitely not.
Why do you say that?
Because when shots were fired, I saw him after the fact. So, and the shots were coming from the other part of the building.
Now, when you're just trying to say what you saw, that comes out real easy. When you're trying to say what you've been told to say, sometimes it comes out like this.
We had a fire alarm earlier that day, and that was a drill, so we thought this was a drill too, just another one. Because we had a lot of fire alarms, a lot of fire drills at the school. After we heard the first gunshot, we initially thought it was a drill. Actually, that was a bad choice. Actually, that was a bad choice because the janitor. Sorry.
It's okay. You're fine, David. You're fine.
Honestly, when I was going out, I was kind of in. I wasn't. When I was going out, I was in shock.
I don't know how to put this in perspective. Okay.
So most of my friends that made it out, one of them went into a bathroom and.
Did you hear that? The guy was coaching him what to say. Just say, I don't know how to put this in perspective. He goes on with his own lines. This guy is he's trying to be authentic at telling an unwritten script.
I believe in the same hallway as the shooter. Oh, hold on. One of them went into the same bathroom, I believe, as the hallway shooter.
Now he's the hallway shooter.
He was in there at the same time, and he was in the bathroom, and he didn't know if he was going to live.
Okay, to me, I mean, I'm just reading body language and the way she's saying it. Not in this particular interview here, but it seems like earlier she said that there was a there was a drill planned prior to this. She sounds like somebody who just got caught up in what she thought was a drill and is just telling the story as she understood it. She thought she was a drill. These guys here, these guys are reading scripts. These guys are reading scripts and
As
acting.
much as I would love to be worrying about prom dresses.
Here, watch this guy right here. After he gets done,
be the change that we need.
One of the teens calling on politicians to pass stricter gun laws, along with Delaney Tarr, David Hogg, and Cameron Kasky.
What do you think is the one thing about your generation that can really spark change here?
okay, now watch him.
Shot. And I hate that
He's on stage now.
Home for me to get involved with
Watch
this,
his face
but
now.
I
He's
just
on
have to forgive
stage.
myself for that and keep moving.
The thing is, as much as I would love to be worrying about
Now
prom
look at his
dresses
face.
and
His
college
part's over.
acceptance letters, in my mind, I
His
can't
pressure's
think about
off.
anything
Look,
now
this
except
guy over here, he's
change.
acting.
All
He's
I can
putting
think
on
about
his,
is their
he's
17
adding to the
sisters.
script right
They're
here.
taking their
He's adding
movement
his extra part.
nationwide with the March on Washington
These
next.
guys are reading scripts. They've been trained on what they're supposed to be saying. That's not heartfelt testimony there. I don't know. I just this was so blatant that I just had to come on and say something about it and share this. These people are actors. Okay. Now, the second half of this is how long are we going to let this go on? Okay. I saw John Podesta on Face the Nation over the weekend. I thought this guy was in jail. Why are these people still out running around when we're supposed to have the goods on them? Why are these guys still able? I'm not saying, I don't even know, maybe they didn't kill anybody. Very possible. But President Trump was standing next to somebody in a hospital. So some people got shot. But why is this still going on? It is time to put the brakes on this thing. It has gotten way past time to put the brakes on this thing. I told you in another video, I've been making memes to help our cause here. This is one I made today. Unnamed shadow government officials are the cause and effect behind gun violence in this country. Name them and solve this problem. These guys are just trying to unarm the country. This problem isn't because of guns. There have been this many guns around forever. This problem has come about since Obama got into office. And the 16-year plan to disarm America and destroy America between Obama and Hillary, well, that's when it got started. That's when the gun violence really took off, because that's part of the plan right there. You can't take down a nation that can shoot back at you. These guys are in crazy town, and we can't sit by and let this happen any longer. Take a good look at this picture. It's not a coincidence that all these crisis actors happen to pose for the same picture prior to the shooting. Okay, people, it's time to wake up and understand this is the type of crazy that is running this country through the mainstream media and backed by this deep state. They're responsible for 90% of these, random acts. They will sacrifice your kids at the drop of a hat just to further their agenda. I just don't know how to say this any longer. And the problem is what I'm seeing, through trying to spread the memes, we still got over half the country that just buys this up. I mean, they buy everything that comes out of the mouth of the mainstream media like it is fact. These guys aren't actors. These are poor children who've been caught in a bad situation, and they're gonna march on Washington and make it all better. No, these are just actors. These are actors trying to take the guns away from you, so that the crazy idiots that put them up to it can carry out their plan. Now we got to decide, are we going to let this happen? Are we going to let this keep going on? Or are we going to do something about it? I understand this patient plan that's in motion here, that we've got to slowly wake up the population. But I don't think that's true. I think you could go take over the TV stations today, say everything that's going on, and people would buy into it just immediately. As soon as they heard it on TV, it would be truth. So why are we leaving the loudest megaphone, the biggest tool of mind control, in the hands of these clowns here who are still using it to this day to murder more Americans? How can we stand by and let this happen? People, it is time to do something. Donald Trump, it is time to do something. I see, I mean, I know you're doing things, and I see the actions every day, but it's going at a pace that they can still, if you're fighting, if you're in a knife fight, you take the knife away from the other person before you arrest them. You disarm them first. They still got their biggest weapon. They still got their biggest weapon available, and that needs to be taken away from them. That's my point here. We can't leave stuff like this going on in the background. If anybody did get killed, how can we live with that? We know these clowns are doing this, and yet we're standing by and going at this slow, steady snail's pace to ensure that what? I mean, what is that really ensuring? It's not ensuring anything. We could try different ways, more quicker, direct, to the point ways. Send the Marines into the television stations, take them over, and even if that becomes a mistake, at least that got thrown into the conversation. At least the television stations had to say what the truth was for a while, even if we had to back off of that later. I know that the president has more information than I do, but I'm saying evil is right in our face still. And this opponent that we're up against has no conscience. We can't act with a conscience and expect them to just submit. I mean, and they're thrown in our face. They attack a school that is named after a lady who doesn't want to drain the swamp, who is against draining the swamp. Named after the same hospital that John Kennedy, after he was murdered, was sent to, Parkland Hospital in Dallas. They are throwing this right in our face. John Podesta was on TV this weekend. They are throwing this right in our face. Hillary's going to be running for president again before you know it. I'm just ranting, but I had to get it off my chest. Take a look at the pictures, people. Look for the lady who said she was next to the shooter, and there was definitely somebody else shooting in the building. Okay, try to find her video online. You can't hardly find it. Look for the video of the 4 people who were going to make a change and march on Washington. They're all over the place. That's the deep state in action. If that's not right in your face, you've missed a lot of the point of what's been going on here. Anyway, that's my piece. Orville Ragland signing off. God bless America. God bless Donald Trump for everything you are doing. But we can't sit by and let evil have its way like this.